Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Matthias, I was curious if the assignment is due on Sunday or if it's due Wednesday. The calendar
Uh,
has mentioned
Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Maybe no. I actually put Sunday. Uh, yeah, I put Sunday 1 minute to 12 in the night, I think.
Okay. Are you going to be awake to receive everyone's assignment that they turn in at that very last second?
No, but the canvas
Hey,
is
I'm just
keeping
kidding.
track of that. So yeah, and I mean it's just I don't really encourage working maybe to the last minute. If I mean sometimes you have to, or you kind of just want to finish something. But I mean, planning, good planning would be to have something that you're happy with on Friday evening and then relax the weekend. But I know how it is, so I. Last time I put on Wednesday in the last week, people were really. I think I mean it really doesn't. No matter where you put the deadline, you some people are gonna be like on the edge of it. But I mean, try to plan well and don't kill yourself. Find the balance. All right. So today's lecture is gonna be what makes a great asset and how to make it. Um, and The first point I put here is a clear design. So making a clear design, no matter how good materials you have and all that, still, you mean cool designs like I mean these are quite extreme here, but I think um, that's a point that needs to be making like clear decisions on, why do I make this, and adding like kind of characteristics to your shapes and clear decisions. Um, Also, like this basic, I mean, symbology, the basic example would be like something friendly would be kind of round, and something like hostile would be kind of jagged. And I mean, you can work with this, and uh, I mean, it's like the very basics. I mean, you can twist and turn with that. Another point I want to make is the kind of fractal shapes, meaning that you can use, like I found this one as a good example. Uh, like you have these frogs here, like two circles and a bigger circle, and the face here, like a circle and two circles, and so kind of choosing like one or two characteristic shapes to build your um, asset. Um, so that's the intro, and I had lots of questions on the materials. So I will actually I will create a um, quick demo on how to do a like simple substance painter workflow using vertex colors, and it could be done um, using material colors or any other method. Okay. I'd planned to have a little nice design here, but I will just make it simple of it. Tube. Um, so in Houdini, at least, it's like really simple to work with vertex colors. So that's where it's like kind of my go-to workflow now. I think Maya is quite easy to work with vertex colors, but I think for Max, just assign materials with colors. Um, Transform. Polygon. So bear with me. Union. I had planned to make this rocket engine, but it's kind of overscoped. All right, so I mean, one easy way to get the colors on would of course be to, I mean, add the colors before you combine stuff. And I will show two different methods. I mean, of course, you can in Unreal, you can use multiple materials. Material, or actually, I do the quick material. Quick mat. No. So two materials. And others. I tried to be as prepared as I was last week, but I actually failed that. RS Material Builder. Nice. Okay, fuck. Okay, let's skip that. Let's go for red here. Red color. And green color. And I'll put this. SP demo. It's like always need to reinstall the license on Substance. New Unreal Engine preset. Select my mesh. Okay. Oh, it has no UVs. Yeah, sure. Actually, crappy example. Let's see if I have something better. Okay. Mm, I apologize for not having a prepped example here. I actually forgot my computer at the work, so let's see. No. Mm, 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 mm. Give me a second. Oh yeah. Hmm. Perfect. I actually plan to do a mechanical asset, but anyway, Rick will do. Um, so let's split this guy. Already has groups. Perfect. Select the group. Hmm. Point groups. No. Primitive. Primitive attributes. Oh, it's my usual Monday morning. Group expression. There's a simple way to do this. Color. Um, ah, sorry for my retardness here. Actually, I'll just do it this way. Group. Select. And faces. And its age. Age. Okay. Group that. I white. Group this. Oh. I black. Oh. Group this. Skin. Group. And I mean, this would be, of course, be the same kind of in any application. Um, nope. Teeth. And what more? Oh yeah, the skin. And the hair. All right, finally coming along. Group. Color. Eye black. Color. Teeth. And for like a point here, if you would do like channels for mixing in Unreal in the shader, I would only use maybe really clear colors like red, green, blue, maybe yellow, or like a combination of two, and alpha channel. But for mixing in Substance Painter, since you're using a color picker, you can use any colors as long as they're kind of not the same. Color, eye white. Hair, and finally skin. Like this. So okay. All right, so let's export that. FX rigs head with colors. Save the disk. And let's open Substance. All right. Discard. I hope this guy has UVs. Damn it. No. Okay, let's go in ZBrush. Mm. And maybe I wish I was more had this all set up, but still maybe it's a good little good lesson how to make it quick and good, because I think um, like making perfect stuff of course is very nice, but a lot of times making quick and good is what will get you to the point where you know where to put to spend your time. Environment art. Rig's head with colors. Here we go. Let's go down to the UVs. UV master. Symmetry, control painting. Track frame with occlusion. Unwrap it. So, like I think I said, I think still that for organic assets that ZBrush UV Master is the very best to create non-stretchy unwraps. It doesn't cover space very well, so unwrapping islands here and then going into some other software to pack the map is like the best workflow. Okay, so look at that. Texture 19. No. So I mean this one I would say is way too stretchy in the face and on the eyes. Um, so let's do a group split. Auto groups. Okay. Lasso. Like that. Group it. Oops. Nope. Maybe just grow this a little bit. Visibility. Grow. Group that. Wait. That will do. Also the eyes. Just to um, force the algorithm to split or to kind of split the UV at certain points. So let's try this. Unwrap. Maybe we need to split the hair too. All right. Still quite bad. The eyes are okay. This one is not. So let's split in here. And you can do that by you can group the masked point. So mask this and do polygroups and group masked, and you don't have to. This one, the polish setting. So if I do group here, um, it will not create any new edges. It will just be the kind of same here. So the edge will not be clean. But if I do polish here, it will create a clean line around the masked area, which is good sometimes if you want to make like clean panels and stuff like that. Let's keep that like that. Unwrap again. All right. I'm not really happy. Okay, like I'll do one more split. Group that. Oops. Right. Oh yeah, me retarded. I forgot to click the polygroups. Let's try again.
Matthias, I have a quick question for you.
Yep.
When doing these meshes, because I can see you have full manifold meshes here. When you're putting them into the game engine, is there any increase in performance if you were to attempt to optimize these? By optimize, I mean remove back faces, or is it irrelevant? So if you were
Back faces don't render. I mean, if you mean like these kind of
like you have this,
faces, yeah,
yeah,
I would take that away. Yeah.
okay. Because so how does that impact the engine? I mean, there's technically a vertex count, triangle count, but does it actually render it if it's culled behind another object?
The culling is very efficient, but I guess it's a memory thing on the graphics card.
Okay, thank you.
And I mean, this ear here is like really high res. So, but also, I mean, you can keep a like this face. I think is decent. Not for like a mobile game thing, but like using the built-in LOD tools, you can really get your low res automatically kind of there. But I mean, optimization is not to be gonna taken too lightly, because like can I say, getting your yeah, oh, it's nice to make
Uh,
like really clean meshes that are optimized, of course. And if you're gonna make like foliage or something, you're gonna spread like thousands of them. Of course, you need to make like really optimized meshes. Um, and of course, depending on the platform. I mean, this guy would not be example of a finished like game ready mesh. I'll probably get beating from the kind of directory if I use this one.
Okay, I was just wondering because at work when I'm doing my VR assets, I have my frustrum culling, but I have to deal. I also have to have culling masks uh, for other stuff. So I just have to try to optimize as much as possible. So I've been taking away those back faces or
Yeah, yeah,
faces
yeah.
seen.
Anything not visible, take it away. And I mean,
Okay.
it will help a lot also because um I mean, texture space for one. Actually, like the UV space, um, not wasting unnecessary UV space where it's not visible. So actually, I will. I mean, that is a maybe even bigger thing. Not to waste all this kind of UV space. Um,
Okay. I'm not trying to get you to go off into a side thing because you're working hard here, but I'm curious.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, group this and like ZBrush is is always like this. You can take away and show, and so now I have this piece, and now I can invert everything, and then I can do a delete hidden. So now I got rid of that. Same with the face here. So look at this one, invert that, take away this one, take away that one, invert it, and do a delete hidden. So that would be like a good way to do it in ZBrush. Now let's have a look at the UV texture. Yeah, I mean this looks good. Actually, it will probably help already be done if for the first splits there, but I didn't check the respect polygroups setting here. So this looks quite good. Yeah, like this coverage is not very good, but I mean probably I would cut this in pieces and do a layout in Houdini. I can even try to make a layout from this right away. Like that. Unflatten and uncheck texture and go to FBX export and export it. So rig head with colors and UVs. And just have a look at it. I will import it here. And with different tools, I mean, you will always need a bunch of tools, and it will always like kind of differ. You know, something new comes along. Like I've been testing a mixer a bit now, and it's really cool. It doesn't have the baking that Substance have, but I mean, it has a lot of other stuff, including like all the scanned stuff that you can use. Okay, so I lost my vertex colors here. Let's see if I get the group still. Um, for some reason, I mean, I think ZBrush stores the vertex colors in some weird way that no one else understands. Try and export an OBJ here. Export rigs head. No, all right. Nothing. Okay, so I'll have to redo this. First, maybe if my vertex order didn't change, I could just take this stuff here. Let's see. No, it didn't work. Okay. Group I white. Like that. I black. And skin. Like that. And teeth. I mean, you always want to do like automated stuff, but I mean, a lot of times it comes down to just getting your hands dirty and just doing it. And that, like a note uh, on programming too. I mean, you always have to make the kind of decision like if it is it worth it to program this, or is it, I mean, is it better to just uh, do it by hand. Like that. Okay. Export. Like that. 004. Get it out. Like that. File. There is a way to switch a mesh inside Substance that works sometimes even with painting. And it's in, let's try if I have like a paint layer here, or maybe a fill layer with a mask. Uh, Add a black mask. No, white mask, black mask. Like if I didn't have not enough unprepared demo here. Okay, I don't have any UVs even. All right, so let's do this. You can go in here and change the file to a new file, and as long as the kind of materials and everything is named the same, you can switch it. But for this one, since it didn't have UVs, I just do a new one. Select the file, Rixhead 004. Okay, discard. And finally, we are here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is bake the mesh maps. And um, let's do it okay. The one setting you definitely want to change is or check is the ID map. So material color is default. Do the vertex color for this one, and then just bake. One thing that could be good is to save the project first, because then there will be the project will have a name before it writes out the files. folder, env art substance, brick 005. Oh. Bake the mesh maps. Select the high res, which is the same in this case. ID vertex color. Okay, då, bake it. Okay. So now that we've done the bake, let's see where my layers went. Okay, like that. Layers. Reset UI. Mhm. Okay. Let's just add a material to it. Smart materials. Okay. Add a mask. Add a mask with color selection. Pick a color. And we have a mask. Maybe dusty plastic. And get another mask. Mask with color selection. Pick a color. And have something black and shiny. Maybe this one. Add another mask with color selection. Pick a color. And something like this perhaps. Add another mask with color selection. Pick the color. And something for the teeth. Go with this one. Add a mask with color selection. Pick color. And here we go. So I mean, working with pre-made materials like this is a bit the same, I think, as working with scanned assets or anything. And so one thing that I find quite important is just adjust what you have. I mean, um, not just taking it exactly as it is. Just change a few settings to make it a bit your own. I mean, let's find this base color. Base. I mean, just depending on what you're after. I mean, um, changing like I mean, roughness, I think, is one of the parameters that a lot of people don't get really. And using contrast in roughness is one thing that really makes an asset nice. I mean, so for this one, I will go. Um, I will take down. I'll get up the roughness up, so that would be the smoothness. down for the skin, for instance, and then maybe get the shinier on the eyes, for instance. Um, Base roughness. So it's just going to be like a very basic substance workflow. I'm not really a substance expert at all. Um, let's find some the blue stuff. Um, I mean, tiny adjustments can be like a really just to make it yours, really. So where's my roughness? Oh, this is a generator. Yeah, whatever. I'll have it like this. All right. So when you're happy with your setup in here, export. I usually nowadays actually export the mesh from Substance just to be certain that the normals are exactly the same, because the normals can change when you, for instance, triangulate the mesh. So everything inside Unreal is triangulated, uh, and if you have a quad mesh, normals can change when triangulated. So, and the important thing with making the normal maps work perfectly is to have exactly the same normals. Um, right, Rick's head. Okay, and also export textures. And here I'll go to packed map just to show you how to use that. Textures, new folder, Rick's head 005. Okay, and here you can use the any resolution that you like, of course. Export, and then we go into Unreal.
So Matthias,
Yep.
uh, one of the things, workflows I had started working with years ago was exporting targas instead of PNGs, pings, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
out of. So is that still kind of something that's used? I mean, because PNGs are much smaller lossless compression than a targa, which has no compression.
Uh,
Does it matter in the end?
Not inside the Unreal project, because it will store it in the internal format. Actually, targets have RLE compression support, at least, but not from any application. I sometimes use it when I want to have a bit more control of the alpha channel, because the PNG stores like transparency in I'm not sure like how it stores it, but if I would use um, yeah, I usually use like PNGs actually, but I mean it doesn't matter inside the Unreal project or the packed game. So use anything that works for you.
Thank you.
All right. Meshes. New folder. Rexed. Import. Scale. Don't create materials. No collision. Import. F the frame, and to get some working lighting I usually just get a skylight and choose some texture. Like that. Okay, so now let's set up a master material. Let's see. Okay. Do do do. Okay, so first of all, I'll make like the most. I'll just import the textures here. Textures. And the color map and the default map are imported as they are supposed to. But the packed map you need to uncheck the sRGB. And that's it. Save it. So let's create a material. And normally I would create this in my materials folder, and I will do it now too. Maybe it's a bit too crowded here. No, I'll keep it here. But right click, material, M, it can be called like packed map master. Create an instance, call it Rick's head. Okay, maybe mi Rick's head, apply it, and then we will open the material. I will actually get, if I select the mesh out here and go into my material editor and click the teapot, I will get my selected geometry as my preview mesh, which helps, especially if you're on like a single screen. So get the textures in here, and then I will tab this one up here. And I had some questions about like multi-materials. So I mean, most of the case, if we're gonna ad hoc materials like specific shading and all that, that will happen in Substance Painter. It's like setting up with the masks and all that the way I did. But for some other situations, you might have different material slots, and I will go into that briefly later. Okay, so first of all, I will convert all these guys to parameters so I can edit them in the instance later. Convert to parameter, and this one will be the packed map, and it can actually be called occlusion, roughness, metallic, and this one is the normal map, and this one is the base color map, or albedo base color map. Albedo is you will see that come up here and there, and it's like unlit base color pretty much. Base color, normal, and for the packed map we have the red channel is occlusion, if I remember correctly. Occlusion. Green map is the roughness, and the blue map is the metallic. So let's see. Let's see if we have a match. Um, and I think we're quite close here, which means the maps are set up correctly. But of course, this is a quite boring master material, and you like, I mean, even for different scenes, you might want to have a different tone to your shader. And since material instances are so cheap to use, you should of course set them up. Okay, so let's do some variants. I will just I will create a duplicate of this instance, and I will apply it to this guy. Then I will go into the master material again, and I will set up some adjustments. So spread it out a bit. For the base color or albedo, I mean the first and most like always use is a tint. So, and that's just a multiply. So the multiply, plug that in, and add a color. So hold down 3 and click here. Set it to white, because if you multiply with white or 1, nothing will happen. So and right click, convert the parameter, and do a tint like this. So this was successful in the sense that nothing happened. So I added a feature to the material without anything happening. So that was my intention. So now we'll open the instance, take it down, have a look here, and check the override here, get the material, and I will try to kind of find some tint that I like for this specific situation. Maybe he's feeling ill. I immediately realized that maybe I would like to use the ID map to mask the eyes. So let's no, I'll wait with that for now, but I will show you some vertex color stuff in Unreal 2. So this will be a tint. Another setting that I always add, I would actually always comment this kind of base color, maybe. Why not add a color to it? The normal. There's a node called flatten normal. Flatten normal. Plug that in and add a scalar like a 1. Convert to parameter. Let's call it flatten normal. Plug it in. Make a comment here. Normal.
So Matthias, is this basically the opposite of increasing the strength?
Yeah, and you can actually use it to both invert and increase the power of the normal map. So this is a really good function. Let's go inside here and open it. So let's find some here. Flatten normal. Let's see. Yeah, so the hair has some normal. So at 0, it will be default. At 1, it will be completely flat, which doesn't really show here a little bit, but then you can go the other way. So this is like negative 3, where you have like kind of a quite strong normal, and you could also go the other way. So go to 1 to flatten it completely, and then go past that to make an exaggerated normal. So it's not just a flatten, it's actually a complete like tuning for the normal map, which is really useful. I see even like AAA game assets where I think like, why didn't they like kind of push the normal a little bit more? So it's nice to have these kind of fine-tuning controls, because it can depend on the scene. Actually, it can be a different scene, just want a little more expression to it. So what more? You might want a detailed normal map. See if I have my noise map here. Textures. Yeah, something like this. So this is just a few noises. I think I made just a noise in the green and red channel of a texture, a gray texture in Photoshop. So it's good to keep some kind of tileable textures. Nowadays there's a lot of focus on kind of these like Substance Painter specific textures, which is good because you get only like one set of textures per mesh, but I like to have a lot of like nice tileable materials too. They can just throw on stuff. So let's get the noise normal into the material here. Hold down T and click here, and we will get the texture, and I will take this back a little bit, convert this to a parameter, and call it detail normal, and then I will use a node called blend angle corrected normals or something. Blend normal, blend angle corrected normals, which is the one to use for detailed normal maps. And also in this case, I would like to add a switch because I might not want to use this all the time. So I will add another parameter called static switch parameter, which is really good for optimization. and like having lots of functionality in the master material. So static switch parameter, and it can be used for any type of data, so like a color or yeah, kind of whatever. Let's call it use detail normal. And for false, we'll just take this other normal map. And for true, we will take this one where we added the blend angle corrected normals. Also, as a kind of to dial it in, we'll use another flatten normal of this guy. So plug it in, add another, take this one, flatten detail normal, plug it in.
Matthias, couldn't you use the same parameter that you have there for both, the single flatten normal parameter? Wouldn't that work for both degrees?
Then they would change, you know, the same. I would like to be able to tune in
Oh,
them independently.
yeah.
And what happens if you have like a variable or a parameter like this and use it somewhere else is kind of a tricky thing, because if you change one, the other one will change too. So you get this kind of usually unwanted behavior. Like this one is
Okay.
1 here, and this one is or they're both 0. So if I change one of them, they both change, and that's usually not what I want. So it's good if you copy parameters, make sure you change the name, or they will just they will both be like instances. And for this one, I want to have a UV control, so I will add a texture coordinate node to get the UVs. And in this one is where you choose if you have like separate, if you say you have different layouts, you might have one that's with details on top of each other, just to have really high detail on your paint. And then we have another one that's a like unique UV where everything is laid out separately, so you can bake lighting. And this is where you would change that. But for this one, we will just simply multiply this one with a parameter called detail normal tiling. And default will be 1, like that. Okay, apply. And also, as your materials get more kind of complicated, you will like to group stuff, or like kind of, yeah, so they show up more nicely in your editor. So now, right now, it's just like vector parameter, it's a tint, and scalar is this flatten normal, and like that. Weird. Oh yeah, because this one is false. But you can go in and so grab this parameter and group, and you just call this like base color or something. I usually keep all the textures in one place to make it easy to switch them. Base color, normal, and these can also go to normal, normal, normal. All right. Okay. So first of all, let's override. So yeah, base color, my tint showed up here. Normal, I get my parameter here. And static switches, override this guy and enable the detail normal. And now my detail normal map showed up here. and it also exposed this kind of detail normal tiling and detail normal flatten. So tiling this normal a bit. You can see here also that my texel density is not really very good on this one. And what's that mean really is that here my noise is showing up bigger than here, for instance. So that's something you want to keep track of, because that's, yeah, it's a high quality model. You will have like even texel density, so that this noise would be the kind of same size as this one. Yeah, so like something like this, and then I can use the flatten to kind of tune it a bit, just get a little noise in my highlights. Yeah. So that's the detail normal. And I mean, it's always nice to have a detail normal if you get close to stuff. I mean, it's nice that you have this kind of high quality or like high res detail. Yep. Okay, so let's move to the packed map. All right. Packed map. We don't have any metallic. That, move back a bit. One thing that I would like to have is I would like to enable kind of control the strength of the ambient occlusion map. So I will put a multiplier on that 2, or maybe a lerp. Let's do the lerp first. Linear interpolate. So right click, linear interpolate, and for 0 I will have a white color, so like no ambient occlusion. And you can use scalars to mix with colors. It's no problem. Like a float and a vector is no problem. You can't use like a vector 2 and a vector 3, then it won't know what to do. But scalar, like a single value and a vector is fine. So mixing these guys and creating a new parameter, calling it AO amount, plugging it in, and then plugging this in. So now the AO would disappear. Let's create another instance. Duplicate this guy. AO amount. Let's see what happens. It's kind of subtle, but yeah. And there is a slight difference between using the AO input on the material and just multiplying the color. Because an old way to do this was to just multiply the base color with the ambient occlusion, and then under like normal circumstances it would look almost the same, but for like kind of really strong lights and stuff like that, the AO will still be black if you plug it into the ambient occlusion slot on the material, while if you just multiply the colors it will burn out and become very bright. All right. What more? Roughness. This is my way. If I want to adjust a case here, if I want to adjust a light kind of exactly, I would just punch in a large enough number here, and then I would go into the color and just fine tune it with the value, like a brightness control here. And this is why lighting is so fun, and I really get this like live update, like really. Okay. There's a few different ways to remap roughness. Let's have a look at this guy. Can I preview this guy? No. So here's my roughness map displayed on my model. So there's no fully black, but there is fully white. There, actually, I think there is a remap node here. Remap value range. This is how I do it in Houdini, like all the time. I use it like in a remap settings, and it's like a levels control. So let's get some. I also maybe sometimes I use it like a multiply and add, and you can get the kind of all results from that. But let's do this one now. Out max. Okay, the roughness also. Rough. And that would be default to 1. Oops. Roughness out mean. Roughness in max. And roughness in mean. This one will be 1, 2, and let's plug it in. And I will put a preview on this one. So now it looks the same, but for instance, if I would like to use like the full spectrum of roughness, I could take the input minimum and move it up to this color here, maybe 0.3. So that would remap. I'm not sure if you know that. Maybe I will just make a little painting here. So I guess you're familiar with the levels in Photoshop or maybe Substance. So that's where kind of your values of your image lie. So if you have a lot of black, they will be here, the grays are here, and the whites are here. But for this case we had, so we had no black. We had some of this kind of gray around here, and then kind of all the way up to white. But if I wanted to get the full spectrum of this, what I did was I remapped. So I put like 0.3 here. This was still 1, and that will kind of remap this guy, spread it out to the full range of what I said. I could also remap it to 0, 1. If I have sometimes for some values, maybe say I have this full spectrum thing, but I only want all roughness values, for instance, to be quite rough, then I will keep my input values at 0 and 1, and I will put my output values at like 0.6 and 1 maybe, and that would remap this entire curve to that area. So let's have a look at that.
Matthias, should we take a short break?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's take a break. Let's take a 10-minute break, approximately. Get coffee and see you at like something like what's that? 11:35 or something like that. Okay, cool. See you soon.